Hello, I'm Alex Lafkias. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about flies and weighting your streamers, how to weight them. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of different ways to weight your streamer or leave it unweighted. Um, and I'm just going to walk you through kind of why I choose what I do. One thing, and I'm going to start with the heaviest and work my way down. So, old school circus peanut, legendary fly, catches everything. Lead eyes, about a smaller medium. Lead eyes are one thing I'm getting away from. Now, the jig action works, and there's certain times of year that it's very effective, certain days it's very effective. My shoulder is not happy with heavy flies anymore. So, anything medium lead eyes or bigger, I'm really throwing very little. I've gotten away from it. I see clients struggle with it, so I'm trying to figure out an easier way to do it. One way I found is, and these are, look, if you're jigging deep water and stuff, a lot of times you've got to have lead eyes. I fish out of a boat a lot. The line can get the depth for you. I'm not as reliant upon it. Um, so what I've done instead of lead eyes, I'll do some of these skull heads. These are the fish skull bait fish heads. This is a medium. I use the small mediums and the mediums. Those are the two sizes. I think the medium I like more on the eights. The small medium you can throw on about anything. I don't go over the medium-sized skull head. That should be enough. The large is just, it's insanity to me. So there we go. Um, Skull heads can be a little heavy at times. I like them spring, higher water, especially when the fish are just being lazy in cold water. They're eating dead stuff. They're just lifting up and eating stuff. You can really fish that fly deep, just kind of creep it around. Bait fish profile so you can see it. Big white, big chartreuse white, something like that. You can track it every once in a while when it's down there deep. So the skulls still work effective, and they will cast easier than the lead eyes. As we go down the train, Coneheads. Conehead, conehead, conehead. That's a lot of all you need. Most times that cone's going to be enough weight to get you where you need to be, especially when you're fishing, any of that 1 to 3 foot of water. You're only trying to split the water column. If you're down 1.5 feet, that should be enough in 3 feet of water. Maybe 2 feet's better. As you start getting into deeper holes, that's where you might need more lead, especially if you're waiting. The deal with when fish attack, usually when you look into a river, there's a spot in the water column where things come into sight, okay? The smaller you are, the higher up in the water column that's going to be. For big fish, there's a certain level they don't want to come through to eat, and you'll see it. When you see a big fish move, a lot of times you see a dark back, but you don't really make out the fish. You move a 17, 18 incher, you see them come up and whap it. Big fish want to stay deeper. So at times, you'll need to sink that fly a little deeper, and if you're wade fishing, you'll have to go heavier. When you're in a 5 foot hole, you want to start getting down 2.5 to 3. Look for that color change. You see it a lot in lakes. You see it in big rivers too. Not necessarily small rivers. You can almost count every pebble in a lot of small rivers. But as you get into bigger rivers, lakes, there's a certain line where you see and don't see your fly. Now that's the line those fish like to hover around. They usually like to stay below it and just attack. You'll just see a nose, barely anything. So keep that in mind when you're fishing. That's why we keep our flies deep a lot. Coneheads will do the job in most spots. If you need to go a little lighter, and this is where you start seeing more action with a little less weight. The cone still kind of gives you the jig up and down. This is a Russ Madden Flash Monkey, and this is tied with bead chain eyes. He likes the orange. He thinks that matters, or he thinks it's pretty, one or the other. This is good. Super lightweight, but enough to kind of break the water column. Just penetrate a little. It'll start giving you a lot more side-to-side action. With the cones, the skulls, you're really going to be looking at stuff kind of jigging. You start getting into the bead chains a little lighter, and get some more side-to-sides, especially with this blocker head. That's what you'll notice. Anything that we want side-to-side is going to have some sort of blocker head like this. You can use deer hair. I use synthetics a lot. This is, I think, a brush Russ put on here, some wool, anything. But you will notice that. That's going to help us get some more of the side-to-side movement. Big reason this fly gets side-to-side movement is hook placement. That's the biggest thing with this. With that weight back there a little further, it turns on that axis. And that's really been the deal. You can tie musky flies with that one shank, one hook off the back, and you'll get more side-to-side than you'll ever get off anything else. Just an FYI. Russ is a hell of a tire. Another fly. These were some that Russ was fishing with a while ago, and I like these. This is just a standard wool head. Now it appears to be unweighted. These are weighted with lead wraps in the front, okay? Just a few, 0.025, whatever you want to do, 0.030, 6, 7, 8 wraps. The advantage to fish weighting a fly like this is the impact on your shoulder when casting is very light. The weights kind of spread more throughout the fly. It makes it easier. When you have just the lead eyes in the front, that's where you feel the shock. This is more weight balance. There's more weight through this front hook shake instead of being pinned right at the eye. Wool head, this might be even egg yarn. Who knows? But doesn't matter. Blocker head again, weighted on the belly. This is going to get you your side-to-side movement. Great sculpin patterns. You know, nothing fancy. It's basically a kraken or whatever with a wool head and some weight in the body. These crush it. We tie them smaller even in Arkansas. This is a good one some days. Fish aren't real happy. They're on shallow flats. You can just use a little brown crayfish looking thing and catch some fish. Same thing. A little bit of weight in the body gets your side-to-side movement. Other than wool, brushes. This is a 1.5-inch minnow head. These will kind of serve the same purpose. I have no weight on this fly, just the brush head. Side-to-side action, side-to-side swim. 1.5-inch EP minnow heads. Those do all right, and they work fine on the smaller flies. What I found is a little better brush, the Flash Blend baitfish brush, a little stiffer, so I get a little bit better action out of them. So now I'm moving to this type head when I'm getting into bigger flies. I like the 1.5-inch minnow head on these smaller 3-inch stuff, and then I go to the bigger brushes, 4, 5, 6 inches. I use the Flash Blend baitfish brush. It's a tricky one. Flash Blend baitfish brush. And you'll notice 2-hook platform. All of these are basically tied on the 2-hook platform, other than the one of Russ's. I like this. I've gotten away from the shanks. A lot of fouling with shanks. Those shanks catch and hook, and I just lost it. I'm going to 2-hook platform. I hook a ton of fish on a 2-hook platform. Hooks close up front. Most of the eats all occur in the front half of the fly. Unless they don't really want to eat it, then whatever. You'll miss those, but whatever. They come to the head. Usually it's that front hook that's in their head. Notice the gauge on that. Nice big hook. Another way to do it is deer hair. Now, here's a big deer hair chartreuse thing. This thing's been sitting in my box for 100 years, but it still works. The reason this one works better than some other ones, see, I got it on this nice big hook I like that. And I put some lead up here. 2 or 3 strips, just kind of laid it flat. Now what that'll allow me to do is get that head to tip down. Just a touch. It doesn't need much, but it pulls it down. And I don't need to use any other type of hook than the straight, or whatever they call these, J hook. It's the round bend worm hook from Gamakatsu. It's a spin fishing hook for bait casters and throwing plastic worms. 3/0, 2/0. The 4/0 are pretty darn big, so I use a lot of the 2s and 3s. Schultz Outfitters has them. They're expensive, $25 for 25 or $30, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Get yourself a pack of these. Get the black nickel ones from Schultz Outfitters. Awesome hook. You'll catch more fish on it. Just put a little weight here, boom, that'll pull you down. So you can see a lot of blocker heads on anything mid to unweighted. Start going to the cone and stuff. I just have the weight up front, weighting the bodies. Hey, there's a few suggestions. Mix it up. You tie a few flies a few different ways and see how they swim. That's going to be the best thing for you to do. Every fly is going to move a little different. Find ones that work and how to replicate it, and you're good to go. Thanks for your time, guys. Hope that helped. Shoot me questions, comments, whatever you need. I'm here. Thanks.